Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the QRL Show, the place where you come for the crypto and stay for the quantum. In today's episode, we're going to be highlighting a number of projects that were presented to us at this year's QRL Hackathon 2022. And we're coming out of a successful QRL Hackathon event that just took place recently in Amsterdam, where a lot of great projects were built and just great like-minded building within the QRL ecosystem. So in today's episode, what we're going to be doing is highlighting a number of those projects that were presented to us at the hackathon. We're going to give an overview on each project for a few minutes. We're going to give our take, and then we're going to provide you with a link in the show notes or a place where you can check out more on each project if you're interested in checking them out. And we're looking forward to going through these. As a quick note, before we jump in and cover some of these projects, our commentary on each of these projects is not a stamp of approval or representation of these projects at this time, since a number of them still require some security testing and making sure that all is smooth there. But really, our aim behind this episode is to go through what was presented to us, and then this will lead to further dialogue and discussion with the project creators of each of these projects to help their really quality work within the ecosystem get the exposure that it deserves. So when we cover some of these projects, there might be a follow-up episode where we have the project creator come on with us via audio, video, or Q&A style and answer some questions on why they built their project, what the intention was behind it. But I am joined now by Michael Strike on our team, and he's going to be hopping on in 1 second, and we're going to start going through each of these projects.
We're back. We're
We
back
are
from
back.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, we're back from a successful hackathon. I enjoyed the community interaction with the team. I thought that it was a great group of people, not too big, not too large. I think some of our upcoming hackathons, whether it's in North America or Europe, I think they're going to be continue to evolve. But I really thought it was a great setting and a good venue. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was a great setting. Because here's one of the nice things about Amsterdam, as usually you have freedom and safety can quite easily become negatively correlated. Amsterdam's kind of this unique place in the world that there's a lot of liberty, but also you also feel very safe while you're there. So, in the spirit of blockchain ideology and that type of thought process, I think that was a good choice as far as where to have the hackathon, based on system of values and ideals. So that was fun.
Yeah,
it was nice to meet
here.
Our community members.
Yeah, I feel like it's nice to get out of our our bubbles the last few years in terms of face-to-face interaction. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to cover 4 projects in sequence. I'll just give you a quick overview. We're going to be covering Raspberry Pi. We're going to be covering QRLPay, POS Validator, and we're going to be closing it out with the new QRL mobile wallet. So Michael, could you take us away? We're going to be covering the Raspberry Pi. Can you give us a little bit of an overview on that? And we can just kind of give a little jamming back and forth for those watching to learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so our Raspberry Pi, there was a build of the Raspberry Pi that was presented as the first project, and the advantage of this project was that it removed the AES NI instruction set requirement from the node, so you didn't have to have encryption specific instruction sets on the chip running, because it essentially ported or forklifted or hacked emulation into the node for you. So what that allows you to do is basically run a provably quantum secure blockchain crypto node on essentially the cheapest hardware possible. So you could probably get a Raspberry Pi down to, I don't know, maybe $30-$40, something like that, which is for running a node that's part of a network that's provably quantum secure. I don't know if it gets much cheaper than that, but there was it was a nice workaround for a hardware restriction that was driven by code that doesn't need that was able to be ported or kind of band-aided, and just to be able to run something very, very inexpensively.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts there. I think that it's like the whole idea of being able to hold something in the palm of your hand that is, potentially quantum resistant. It's kind of a cool concept, and also just there's less restrictions in terms of the financial barrier. Okay, so the second project that we're going to be covering is QRLPay, which was created by 0xFF and RunForest in our QRL community. And so it's a payment processor. They wanted to make an easy way to have QRL be a payment method for e-commerce. And based on their presentation, they showed, hey, WooCommerce is powering of many of the top e-commerce sites. WooCommerce powers a quarter of those, many in Brazil, other countries. So it's very popular amongst a lot of people that use WordPress. And it's a payment processor, e-commerce deployment solution with a WooCommerce QRL plugin, QRL node, wallet, and Docker. And another important point is that they already mentioned this in their presentation, but a setup script to configure and launch everything is it's already set up, so kind of lowers the friction there. Myself and Michael are going to go back and forth briefly on this one. One thing I do really like about this project is that they're trying to tie it to real world application of being able to get people to transfer currency within QRL. So I thought that part was neat, but myself and Michael are going to go through it right now. Okay, so now we've pulled up the presentation screen that RunForest went over at the QRL Hackathon. So Michael, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so first off, I love this Borg-inspired mercenary attack squirrel from this post-apocalyptic dystopian future. That thing's pretty awesome looking. With that being said, let's forward through a little bit in here and kind of discuss this a little bit. So I think that this is a novel approach, and I don't know of any other projects that are running a community-sponsored payment system that is able to interface and accept payments from a provably post-quantum computer secure blockchain. So I think this is probably another first, perhaps for the crypto ecosystem and perhaps also for a broader umbrella. Looks like there's a QRLPay node according to this project, and a QRLPay wallet that's run from Docker, and it looks like QRLPay is acting as a intermediary between that and WooCommerce. So if I just look at the layout here, and from what I understood from the presentation, you are able to run your own node that interoperates with your own QRLPay installation. And that acts as a mediary between WooCommerce and your node, and you're able to perform transactions through your node back and forth. So the QRLPay it's a bit of a it's a translator. It's a medium for you to be able to talk to WooCommerce. So this looks interesting. I don't know if I've seen this before.
If anyone else is whether it's QRLPay or any others, just really think about when it's placed somewhere. Maybe you also have some call to actions and some links that also educate people on Quanta in a subtle way. But yeah, that's my my quick take. Okay, so the third project that we're going to be going over is the POS Validator Dashboard that was created at QRL Hackathon 2022. Michael, what were your general thoughts on this project? I know this one, we saw in the presentation at the hackathon a bit of info on this one. We don't have a direct link within our QRL blog, but what was your take on this project?
Yeah, so a lot of times within blockchain ecosystems, you have trusted code that's all running in a bit containerized. And even though it's true that one of the advantages of blockchain is its immutability and transparency, it doesn't always mean that there's a good explorer or wait in order to access state file data or access data or any of the data, maybe even its metadata on the chain itself. So this is a bit unique in that it's giving you the validator data as part of the proof of stake consensus mechanism to see what the staking rewards are, rather than just having to rather than in the new Zond code having to write something to pull out data and see what's actually happening as far as who's getting the rewards and what each validator has earned with proposed and attested blocks. this lets you see what's going on. Otherwise, the code is just running, and you don't necessarily you can't really see anything. So I could see a lot like the first project, the QRLPay, and this one. These are precursors to me towards a larger ecosystem that is being built out that's post quantum secure. And at the end of the day, we all know that transparency, visibility, and all of those things are important. The trust is important, but just as equally important is the visibility to be able to access the data, to be able to verify the trust yourself. And a lot of times in blockchain, people may not have the technical ability or skill to be able to get to the data that they want. And I think that building, explorers and explorers such as this will continue to bring more transparency, even though the transparency is in the code and in state files, more accessible transparency in GUI interfaces. And as far as I know, this is the first one I think this is the first.
One part that I was impressed about with this project, and I mentioned this, I think, at the hackathon, is that it was built in a 30-hour span based on the POS and smart contract demo that was revealed the first day of the hackathon. And so based on different parts of the architecture that were demoed a day prior, this project used what was just learned based on that demo and integrated into their project. And, just tip of the hat to them for doing that. A lot went into that in that short 2-day span at the hackathon. So I thought that was pretty notable. And I like the part, a little bit of gamification on the right-hand column. I'll throw up the image right here. You can see here there is a payout column on the right-hand side currently, and then it shows the proposer and the attester counts as well, addresses on the left-hand side with a number of validators at the top. But yeah, cool project. I enjoyed this one. Michael, I'd like to wrap it up and cover our last project here.
Yeah, so we had a redesign of the QRL wallet, and the presentation is you can see from the overlay that the presentation was a lot of fun, and the wallet actually looks pretty sharp. With the functionality is similar, but I think it's an important prospect to be able to have multiple wallet choices, multiple ways in which to access a blockchain, because just as in we have different types of cryptography that are made for different reasons, and we have different NIST standards that are all solving the same problem, but maybe you have XMSS or LMS. Options are important. So having another wallet, I think, is value add to the ecosystem, not just from an aesthetic perspective, but also functionally.
Yeah, the Voltmine team, they created a cool QRL wallet that I'd say it's a mobile app refresh using QRL brand colors, having more options for people to be using different wallets. Over time, I think that's a good thing. I think one thing that whether it's this new QRL mobile wallet or whether it's a build, a progression on this one or others, one thing that has to be met has to be transparent in terms of the standards of it living up to a certain expectation, or at least that being transparent to people, so that when they need to select if they're going to use a certain wallet, them being kept abreast on that. And then also, when it comes to wallets, obviously maintenance in iOS and Android, that's a work in and of itself. But covering just back to the project, I thought that what they built at the hackathon was, really, really neat. I thought it was a, clean look to it. I think it's a wallet that I think would be very, UI, UX wise. I think a lot of people would like using it. Definitely needs a refresh, and I think this QRL mobile wallet provides that. And thought it was a great project that was built. Of these 4 projects that we've covered here, I know we've done some overlays while we've been talking about these projects. Within the show notes of this episode, while you're listening to this right now or watching it, if you just expand the show notes, you can find links to explore more on each of these projects, whether it be Raspberry Pi, whether it be QRLPay, the POS validator, or it's the QRL mobile wallet. And really encourage you to check each of these projects out. A big part of this building and these projects had to do with the fact that we had a great environment, a motivated group of people together at QRL Hackathon 2022. So I think that environment was great to be able to come together and chat with different people, see what people were working on and building, and just meeting a lot of different people with a lot of the same different flavors of how they came into crypto and blockchain, but aligned on a lot of the different philosophy and ethos. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad, Michael, that we covered and highlighted these projects. And hopefully, based on this, it will segue into maybe having a number of the project creators come on for an additional episode with us, and let them take the mic and discuss why they built their projects and how they believe they're going to evolve over time. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe we can cut to some of the hackathon footage.
Yeah, let's cut to, as we close out this episode, we're gonna cut to about a minute of hackathon footage. So if you were at QRL Hackathon 22 that we just took place, you'll be familiar with this footage. If not, here's a sneak peek of what might be in store when you attend one of our upcoming QRL Hackathons. Let's close it out.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. See ya.
One of the things about technology in general is that everything that succeeds looks very obvious in hindsight.
How many people understand blockchain and have correlated the impact of quantum computers? We were the first industrial-grade, provably quantum-secure blockchain based on an NIST-recommended XMSS hash-based signature scheme. And we're building more.
Very smart people and very well-funded organizations are all trying to tackle this. So this is something that's going to be more important as each year passes, and it's only going to continue to uptrend from here.
Welcome to the Quantum Resistant Ledger Hackathon.